this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR video. With the new duality coming, people are probably going to be questioning whether the Challenger SRT Super Stock or the Extreme Aero is better for live. I can tell you that the Challenger Super Stock is definitely the better of the two. I'm actually here in live racing with the car. I did mention this in my take video that I don't think it's a super good car, but it's solid enough to use. And here I am racing it in live. We're going to run a few races, then we'll go back and talk about the car a little bit to see where it is and how it's tuned, so that potentially you can make use of this car for your own purposes. The car's main advantage is that the Super Stock, despite the numbers, seems to lobby relatively well compared to, say, the Extreme Aero, which, even though it has better looking numbers, tend to lobby worse than this car. And that's really the advantage of this car, is that if you lobby well and you control your runs well, you could probably stay in a pretty competitive lobby for a while until you start running into cars that are just much faster than you, and then you start to push your car. Then the problem is, of course, you get bumped out of the slower lobby into slightly faster and eventually lose that advantage that you have in the lobby. That's a whole separate discussion. I have videos on that, what lobby advantages and why we like it, and why low performance point high evo cars tend to have easier time maintaining it. But the point is that regardless, you still have to drive the car in a way that makes you to keep the lobby advantage rather than slowly throwing it away. That doesn't mean that you never race your car hard. It just means that you want to race it in a way to keep it as close to the lobby times that you want to stay in as possible. All right, so again, I've done a few races here now. Let me see how am I doing on my, yeah, so let me get, oh, all right. This is the Purple Star car from Fast and Furious. Unless he found a way to down tune it, that car is so-so when it comes to live racing. We'll see how it goes. Not to say that it's going to be terrible in here, but I don't foresee it being super difficult to beat him. There it is. Unfortunately, the Fast and Furious R34, as beautiful as that car is, just isn't that great. The version that we have from Elite Tuners, set up properly, could be much better. But again, overall, that as cool looking as that car is, it's just not very viable in live. Okay, now let's take a look at this car and see where we're at with it. I have probably every part for this. Yeah, so this is, I could easily max this for the event, but the way I restructured the car is I leveraged the stage 6 transmission because it gives you more evo points. Now, technically, you can use body to get more points here than the transmission, but it doesn't make you drive the car easier, nor does it make it beat dyno or anything. So not really the way I wanted to have it set up. So I went with this kind of a combination. Low point parts here. The goal here is to get a target number with a target number. So, you know, trying to keep it around 650 or 647 would be preferable, but whatever, 650 will still work because it's still within range of that 11.2 lobby. And then the adjustment here is mostly made to put the car at a dyno of 11.238. It's the same dyno I have been having a lot of fun with, because here, generally speaking, you're not challenged with super good cars because they tend to jump past this lobby really fast. On the other hand, your car can do well here, so that gives you some advantage. As you can see earlier, I was running against opponents mostly running 11.8 to 11.6. That means the opponents are mostly in the 11.6 lobby. That doesn't mean you're not going to run into 11.2 opponents. Eventually, what happens is that sometimes in the different parts of the day, there are more players or less players, and when it's nighttime and all the more veteran players tend to get on and play, you're going to get a wider spread of opponents. However, I know most of the guys in here, I've seen their names. I know that one there is a down-tuned car. I wouldn't bet money against that. You know, you kind of get used to who you deal with in here. So we are in the 11.5, 11.6 range lobby. Cars like this will run 11.4 in here, if not faster, maybe 11.3s. Cars like this will run 8.8 if he wants to. This guy, I just ran him. So you kind of know where you are in the lobby with regard to ability to succeed in live racing. And the reason why this is even coming up is because, of course, you can probably acquire this car in the coming event. Now, if you're a newer player and you have a choice of acquiring this or the Extreme Aero, I would probably lean towards going for the Super Stock. Since we're here, let me just grab the Extreme Aero real quick and we'll take a look at that car in comparison. I can tell you right now, whoop, Extreme, got to be able to spell. The Extreme Aero, unfortunately, higher numbers here, higher numbers there, is a faster dyno, but it doesn't lobby nearly as well. And by dropping to 650, it doesn't put me where I want to be either. So let me just show you quickly how I tuned it. I'll show you the parts real quick. We'll run it. It's basically a car that is buffed to be tougher and stronger than it was before. However, it doesn't seem to do well despite that, which it's unfortunate. It's one of those cars that if you set up the dyno bus, then the numbers are terrible. But if you set it up to have good numbers, then it's hard to get the car under dyno or even hit dyno. So it's kind of a rough way to deal with this car because you can't win either way. Now, let me see. I don't see any available opponents. Let me jump out and back in. I do have the latest update, so I don't know if that is affecting any of my lobbying here. Looks like, wow. Okay, let me challenge this guy. He's a newer player with the Elite Tuner car. That Elite Tuner car beats dyno, so there's always that. Now, he raised me 5,000, so he probably has a setup where it is beating dyno, and he's pretty confident about beating me. And he may very well do it. We'll see. But the point here is that the Viper Extreme Aero used to be one of those cars that would just destroy people because of its dyno busting. Nowadays, not as much, right? So I did run close to my dyno. He's probably running. So this is probably, if I were to guess, I would say I'm in the 10.9 lobby, and I just ran a 10.7, and now the computer is probably going to kick me out of this lobby and say, hey, you're out of here. You ran too fast. No, couldn't catch the bot. So what happens is if you run 10.7 and the computer knows you ran 10.7, especially with this car, it's going to start giving me opponents that run 10.7s or faster. So Coolman here, this guy, probably dyno around 10.8, 10.7. One of the ways I can reset myself is by slowly, losing or something. But let me see who all right, well, I'll take this challenge. We'll finish the video after this. Like I said, I like the Extreme Aero in the old days. I always wanted to be a better car other than just a down-tuned monster that doesn't do much else. But unfortunately, even with the buffing and upgrading, it just isn't there. So now I'm going to get beat. I might as well slow down and run really slow because this car is already lobby now with the next opponent, somebody who's faster. So that's kind of where you're at with this car. I don't like it. Compared to the Super Stock, this car is just not very viable. All right. Okay, so that's it. Primarily, out of the two cars that are coming in the next leg of the 90s Rewind, I would say grab the Super Stock, set it up. You can actually win some live racing. But again, neither car is super good, so keep that in mind. And if you only have 70 gold keys and they're available to pull, I would say save them for something better to come along. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. If you like the video, leave a like. If you like this kind of videos and would like to get notified when I put up new videos, subscribe, hit the bell, and you get notified when these videos are available. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.